co-founder of Settling. And today we're going to be talking about masters in Germany. What's more interesting is I have a very special guest joining us all the way from Russia today, Aruman, and he's the guy behind Me Pro Bag. He's going to tell us more about that, anyways. And what we are doing today is connecting the world, basically. Armin has been living in Russia for quite some time now. He'll tell us more about that. And as you guys know, I've been living in Germany for over 10 years now. So when you think Germany, the EU, I do believe I have one or two things to offer you. And I'm very excited today. Armin, nice to have you here.
Oh, thanks for having me, Mike. Well, I've been talking about this for quite some time now. It's so wonderful that both of us had the time today to, to be able to come live together to talk
100%.
about both, studying in Germany, and Russia, basically, because most of our audience wants to reach over to the other side, because for us on Me Pro, we have always been having people that want to study in Germany and other parts of Europe, which of course you specialize. And then I always tell them that, guys, I am in charge of Russia. Not in charge of Russia. I am specialized. There's only one person in charge of Russia. All right. So I tell them that, okay, I specialize in Russia. If you need admissions to Russia, I am your guy. But then I have a guy, in Germany that handles admissions to Germany and the EU. Well, because we don't want this life to be all over the place. We are going to focus today on what Mike just said, which is masters in Germany.
Yeah.
So I forgot he already introduced me, but my name is Aruman May. I'm the co-founder of Me Pro Bex. Formerly known as MedMinds, where we, actually spoke to, where we actually helped people to come to Russia, migration solutions, and study solutions and all of that. So hopefully, Mike today is going to be explaining, his part, how to study masters in Germany, which is a very big question on, on the audience of, our channel.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, let's do this.
Okay. All right. So not to sound robotic, but I know you're a very busy man and I've been trying to get you to come here for some time. So let's go through the questions very quickly so that these people will be, educated. So 100%. Now, what qualification do you need to actually study masters in Germany? Is it just your bachelor's degree or do you need an additional qualification?
Well, the primary qualification you need for a master's in Germany is a bachelor's degree. That's the primary thing. But as you can imagine, the bachelor's degree qualification might be different for different countries. In some countries, it's 4 years. Other countries, is 3 years. But what matters at the end of the day is when they check your transcript, the number of credit points which you have. But by default, it is a bachelor's degree. Yeah.
Okay. Because there are some courses or some countries that will need additional qualification from you to be able to go into certain courses,
That's right.
So another question again, is it offered in German language or is it offered in English?
No, both. So you can study 100% in English language as the master's level. And if you want to study in German, you can also do this. So most study programs are available at the master's level. That I can tell you. Yeah.
All right. So what is the difference in cost, or between German and English language?
Well, studying in German public universities is 100% tuition free. Doesn't matter if you study in German or you study in English language. What's important to know here is that you pay semester contribution, but it's not considered the tuition because it's actually for your transportation within the state or the city where you're studying or where you live. And it costs between 120 to about 350 euros per semester. And the semester is 6 months. So this is actually the cost which you pay for your tuition, so to speak. Yeah. And whether you study in English or in German, it doesn't matter. It's still the same thing. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, German public universities are free, even if you're studying in English or German, it doesn't matter. Okay,
That's
so
correct.
that is very
Mm.
interesting. I always thought that maybe the private universities were the only ones offering English, studying English.
No, no. I also have to add that some states are beginning to kind of change it a bit. In
Hmm.
some states, especially down south, even when it's
Yes.
a public university, they kind of charge international students tuition. But the tuition is still relatively low, around 1,500 euros per
Hmm.
year or semester, depending. But this is just like a really small percentage, maybe 5 to 10%. But there are many other options for you. So if you don't want to pay that tuition, you can go elsewhere.
Okay, that is that is good, man. So, if they are giving you tuition for free, how do you manage the accommodation? Because the tuition is
Mm,
free, but are the
yeah,
hostels actually paid for, and how much, for example?
yeah. So that's a good one. The tuition is free, but then you have to take care of your needs, every other thing that you need, including
Yes.
hostel. So for the hostel, it depends on the type of hostel, the city. But
Mm-hmm.
a cheap hostel could go as low as 180 euros per month, and that is for like a shared space. Um,
Yes.
then something that is not shared space, just you, could go up to like 350 euros per month. So this is like the range. In maybe much smaller cities, it could maybe go as low as 150 euros per month. Um, I recall back then I did not stay in the hostel when I studied because I've always liked to live in the city. But I recall some
Okay.
student hotels back then, they were going for maybe 120, 150 euros, and like 2 to 3 people having a common bathroom and then kitchen and toilets, and then a common living area. Quite spacious too. Yeah. So
Well,
the
that is
range
not
for
bad.
the accommodation is between 150 to 350 euros. Yeah.
Okay, so that is good. You mentioned that you stayed outside, the hostel. You stayed outside the
Yeah.
campus. So how much were you, paying for apartments outside for people that
Mm.
don't want to stay in the hostel?
Okay. It's good to mention this was about 10 years ago, so prices might not be the
Yeah.
same.
Yes, of
But
course.
the good thing about Germany is like the prices of things do not just increase crazily like that. They're well controlled. If there's anything, it
Yes.
can go up and also come down. So
Yes.
uh, back then, we were paying 500 euros for, I don't remember the size of the space, but it was like three rooms. So it was like 2 bedrooms and then a common living room. Then there was the kitchen. So it was a shared flat, a shared apartment.
Yes.
And I think the total rent was 500 euros. So each of us was paying 250 euros and maybe 50 euros extra for electricity and water. So, but both of us was for sure below 600 euros. Yeah. So at the
Okay.
end of the day, you're spending less than 300 euros uh, per month. Um, and that's typically the range, but this was a small city. If you're living in bigger cities like Berlin, Hamburg, Munich, for sure it goes way higher than that. Um, a shared apartment like that could go as high as 1,000 to 1,500. So 2 to 3 people, then you just divide this cost by yourself. So what I usually recommend is if you don't have to live in the big cities, then you don't have to stay there. You could save yourself a lot of cost if you lived in a smaller city. Yeah.
Well, that is well, that is wonderful. It's like 300 euros for a student per month for an apartment is relatively cheap. Even Russia here, that is we students that are staying outside pay about $300. No, is it three? Yes,
Okay.
$300. Yes, $300
Okay.
a month, depending on which
Okay.
apartment you are staying in. So
Yeah.
that is not as high as I expected it to be. So another
Yeah.
question again, how is the application process like? From maybe you can give us a quick, round
Mm,
off of the application process from the beginning to the
yeah.
end.
Yeah. So the application process in most cases is pretty straightforward. There are usually
Yes.
two options. You either apply There are two options, and it depends on the uni that you're applying to. So some
Yes.
unis they do the pre-screening process through a third-party institution, and this I think the
Yes.
most common one is UniAssist. So UniAssist does the initial screening to ensure that okay you meet all the requirements of the uni, and once this is met, then they push your application to the uni, and then the uni will take the decision on the admission. Other unis, the application process has to be done directly through their portal, and then you apply there, they do the screening, and then they take the decision. The key requirements for the application process are one, you need obviously an internationally accepted ID or passport, and then you need your bachelor's degree certificate, and then you need your transcript of academic record, which shows all the courses that you took, and then the corresponding scores, so your final grade. Um, then you need your CV for sure. This CV is really important that people pay attention to how the CVs are written. The best would be that you write it in the Europass format. I think we can put a link to this to a sample below so that people can find that. It's
Sure.
important to put it this way because it makes it easier for the examiner to just have a good look at your profile. Um, then, in most cases, there's also the need for a motivational letter or motivational
A
statement of
motivational letter.
purpose.
Yes, that
Yeah.
works.
So this is required in many cases. Then also in some cases, um, it's also required to show proof of English language proficiency. Now, here
In
it's
some
important to note
cases.
that, yeah, in some
Okay.
cases, in most of the cases, if your previous education was done in English language, then it wouldn't be a problem. Usually should be, you just need to show a letter from your previous uni that, yeah, your bachelor's degree was conducted in English language and therefore you are proficient in English language. However, I'd like to point out that for courses that are very competitive, then they make this like a compulsory requirement, you know, or even though they don't say it explicitly, when too many people apply, they're going to now start taking those who have this, maybe who took some of these professional exams like TOEFL or IELTS or Cambridge or some of these other English language proficiency tests. What we do recommend is if if it's not going to be a huge stress for you, then just take it. It can only be a plus. I did not do it. Most of the candidates that we work with, they don't have to do it because we focus on unis and courses that are not highly competitive, and also that the candidates have a really good chance. So in most cases, we don't force the candidate that we help with the admission process to provide this, but we do encourage it if they're able to. Um, we've noticed that students from certain countries they don't mind doing it. Students from other countries, I don't want to mention names, they don't want to do it. So this is the case. So, so those are the core requirements. Other time,
Hmm.
depending on what you're applying for, because some master's courses are professional courses, so they could also
Yes.
require that you provide proof of your previous work experience. It could be letter from your
Yes.
employer, letter from an internship, but this is not like in a unique case. So just to come back again, the core requirements are that you have a passport or internationally accepted ID, your bachelor's degree certificate, transcript of academic record, um, then a CV, motivational letter, and then this proof that your previous education was in English language or show proof of English language proficiency. I believe I'm not skipping out anything. There could be other requirements, but these are not specific to the uni or to the course that you're applying for.
Okay. Yes. You said. Let me go through it again so that you correct me if I'm wrong. If I got you.
Yeah,
So you said your international passport or other IDs. You
that's
said
right.
your transcripts from your university. You
Yeah,
said proof of English language proficiency.
yeah,
You said motivational letter and
that's right.
what? Yes, those are the
Yeah,
five. You mentioned five. I forgot one
hmm,
anyway.
that's right,
They are watching. They can go through the video and look at it.
for
So, what is
sure.
the duration of masters in Germany? Because the duration
So
of masters in
typically,
Russia, for example, is 2 years.
Yeah, it's the same in
Right.
Germany. So master's here is for 2 years. So um, 4 semesters.
Or 4 semesters. Okay.
Yeah.
So that works. Okay. Now, what about if you are to advise somebody to, on the, let's see, which word do I use? I can remember it in Russian, but I can't translate it into English. Let's say, which is easier, getting admission into private universities or like public universities in Germany?
What do you think?
Of course, the private universities will be easier.
Yeah, private unis are way easier because you're paying them basically, So they want the
Of
money
course.
and they will get you the admission. But I
Hmm.
always recommend the public unis because they're
Yes.
more thorough and it also comes with a lot of benefit, especially in Germany. And
Hmm.
I mean, you don't have to pay if you don't have to pay, right?
Of
So
course, which is the main thing.
yeah, and I feel like in public unis, then you get to connect with a lot more people, you know,
Yes,
and then you actually enjoy that uni education, that uni vibe and stuff.
of
Um,
course.
some private unis they also have infrastructures like public unis, just a few of them, but most of the private unis, their infrastructure are nowhere compared to the public universities in Germany. So I
Of
would always
course.
recommend the public over the private universities. Yeah.
No, I get you. I get you. Sorry, another question that students usually want to ask is because are students actually allowed to work? And how long are they allowed to work? Is there a limitation on that?
Yeah. So 100% students are allowed to work. And the nice thing is your student visa or your student visa comes automatically with a work permit. So first you get
Yes.
a student visa for 6 months from your home country. Then as soon as you
Yes.
arrive Germany, you convert that into a residence permit, and that comes automatically with the work permit. It's like an extra sheet of paper included in your residence card. And then this allows you to work 120 full days in a year or 240 half days in a year. And what this translates to, it's 20 hours per week. Um, so that's the limitation. But there is also limitation in how much you can earn. The last time I checked, I think because what you can do as a student when you're studying is a mini job. So it's not a full-time
Yes.
job. And I think you can earn up to 500 and something euros. I have to check that again, but it's around that range, 500 and something euros. If you earn more than that, then you get taxed according to whatever tax class that you fall into. But if you
Yes.
don't earn more than that, then you're not taxed, maybe a tiny bit, which is usually not, you don't feel it.
Not a lot of money.
Um, but during holidays, like when you're out of the semester, then you can work full time. So usually in vacation periods, this is when most international students go crazy with work just so that they can earn enough money to, cover their bills when the semester resume
Yeah,
again.
during the semester.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, that that makes a lot of sense, man. Another thing again, sorry, I'm jumping from topic to topic because I've just
No, that's the
combined
whole
random
thing.
questions that I've seen in the comment section. So,
Yeah.
when do the semesters actually start? The academic year, and how long does it take, and all of that? Because most students get admission offers by agencies, like
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
telling them you are coming in the middle of the semester and all of that. So
Mm.
when does the semester start and the academic year and all of that?
So there are usually two academic sessions in Germany, the winter and the summer. The winter is the
Yes.
biggest. So the winter is when most unis, yeah, most, if not all of the unis, that's when they have their opening for the year. And that usually
Yes.
begins in October every year. Um, then the summer semester starts sometime around March, April. So usually March actually every year. So
Mhm.
but the summer entry is way less than the winter entry. So most study programs are available in winter semester. Other study programs or some other study programs are available in summer and winter semester. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. That is something new for me anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
Which other question do you know?
Yep,
am I missing here that maybe you can help us with?
for sure.
Maybe I've asked,
So
maybe,
I'm seeing some from the comments. Can you see the comments? So
e- yes.
yeah, so there's this one saying to tell more about the visa interview questions. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so guys, if you're watching us from wherever, feel free to leave your questions or comments below. I think we can take some of them. Um, I think this is also an interesting one, Aruman, to talk about
Yes,
the
it
visa
is.
interview questions. What I would like to mention here is that um, it, your experience for the visa depend on where you're coming from. Not every German embassy would require like an interview. Uh, I give an example. If you're coming from, say, Nigeria, for example, or Ghana, then you would have an
Yes,
interview. So they ask you questions. Why are you? Typical questions are like, so why are you going to Germany? Even though they know you applied for a
of
student
course.
visa, why are you going to Germany? What are you going to do there? They
Exactly.
ask you, what are you going to study? I recall in my cases, people have to prepare for these, especially if you're coming
Of
from
course.
if you're coming from Africa and Asia, you really have to prepare for it because they literally ask you a lot of questions.
Of
But if
course.
you're coming from other parts of the world, like Australia, the US, or some of the Western worlds, then it's a different case. For example, we've had people coming from Australia to study in Germany. There was no interview. You just submit all your papers, and then you come pick up the visa if you meet all the requirements.
Of
Maybe it's the
course.
case in some other countries. But I know for sure Australia. But then in most parts of Africa, you have like a real interview, and you have questions like, um, what's what are you going to do? What are you going to study? I recall in my time, they even went as far as asking me, what courses am I going to take in the first semester, then in the second semester? And I was just thinking, what if I had not studied these things? But
Exactly.
the good thing is, I had like the paper in front of me, so I think I could read from it. But
Yes.
I never thought I was going to be asked that question. But
Of
other
course not.
questions they could ask you is, um, do you intend to return to your country after you study? And the best answer to give them is yes, I will return. Which is so stupid because which is very stupid because the actual essence for them, one of the core reasons why Germany makes studying at public universities tuition free is because they want more skilled professionals. They want more international
Yes.
students to study and then stay back. But then the people at the embassy expect you or want you to say, oh no, after my studies, I'm coming back. I'm just going there to gain more knowledge, more education, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, you have to say those things. Um, then what else again? They're going to ask you things like, do you have relatives in Germany? Where are you going
Yes.
to stay? So you need to know all these things. The key thing that I have to tell you for sure is know a bit about Germany. Know all the states in Germany, or at least the state where you're going to study. Know the name of the
Mm-hmm.
city. Also know the name of the capital city where you're going to stay. They could ask you
Yes.
these questions. They asked me during my time. Know the content of the study program, what you're going to study in the first semester, second semester. Have an idea what it's all about. Also know about what you want to do after your studies. You have to be clear about that. Be sure if you want to go for a PhD or if you want to look for a job, and also be prepared to say, okay, where are you going to look for that job? Do you want to go back to your home country or not? Um, I think I can put like a list to some of these questions, that we've had from so many candidates. I
I
can
think
explain
if
them.
people can go over to your website, maybe there's a session for
Yeah.
that, for preparations and all.
Let me just take note of that so that
Of
I think
course.
first we talked about
Like
CV and then the
common
other one
interview
is
questions,
visa
maybe.
interview. Yeah.
Because the
So
things you have said are
CV.
completely true. I also faced the same thing when I was coming to Russia. At the time,
Okay.
6 years ago, Russia was not a country where a lot of people were coming to. But over the years,
Right.
demand has increased seriously. So if you go to the
Mm-hmm.
Russian embassy in Nigeria right now, you're going to see a lot of people queuing outside for visas
No
and all.
way.
So of course, the more people that want to apply to go to a particular country, the more difficult it's going to be. If you go to a place like maybe Poland or like let me the UK or France, you're not going to see a lot of people wanting to go to Germany. So because of that, they are not going to make the interviews as difficult. But if you go
That's
to a
true.
country like Nigeria, where of course everybody wants to go out of the country to go study, then of course the consulate is going to be stricter with who they
Yeah,
give
yeah.
visa and who they not give visas. And
Mm-hmm.
the country is not saying don't come to my country. The
Okay.
country is saying if you're coming to my country, state your purpose of coming in. If you're coming in to look for a job, we have visas for for work application and for work. If you're coming
Yeah.
in for tourism, come in for tourism. But if you say you're
Mm-hmm.
coming in as a student, then you should not lie to us. As like you
Of
like
course.
deceive us
Yeah,
with your
yeah.
intentions.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the reason why people like they don't give visas to people that they think are coming in through student visas so that they can just
It's
go
something
abandon their
else.
education and work.
That's
So that
true.
is what I
That's
think.
true.
Another
Yeah.
thing again, you mentioned something very interesting. Before we answer the person that has just commented right now,
Yeah.
how do you stay in how do you stay in Germany after graduation? What is the procedure like?
So that's a very important question because not everyone knows what to do after their studies or how to go about it, or the best way to
Yes.
see that yes, you get as much time as possible. Um, so by default, as a student, you have 18 months after your studies. So that's the post-study
Yes.
visa, and this is intended for you to get a job, and then or get a job or know what next you want to do for the studies, to get a
Yes.
job, whatever. Um, so and how you do this, it's usually simple. Let's say you're doing your master's degree, and before you exmatriculate, you still have like 1 year, for your 1 year for your student visa, which you already took. So you could still like use that, you don't have to just go change it right away. So you still have
Yes.
that, and you're entitled to that 18 month. So this is one thing to keep in mind. But the way it works is once you exmatriculate from the uni, um, then your status already changed. Your health insurance is going to be informed about it. Potentially, the foreign office may also be informed about it. Um, and then you go to change your status. I would recommend slowing down on that for sure because there's a lot just right after your master's defense. You don't know what next you want to do. Maybe you want to go for a PhD, maybe you want to go for further studies. What you should do, especially in Germany, is learn about the opportunities or learn about what the state where you are, what they have for you. I give you an example. Um, because the German government expects you to be fully engaged after your studies.
Yes.
Either you continue with with a PhD for research, if you want to be within the academia, or you look for a job. Whatever you want to do, there are resources to help you do this. So there's the federal job agency, the Agentur für Arbeit, and these are the people who are responsible for you after you graduate. So their job is to help you get your next engagement. So let's say you're looking for a job. So their task for you, you're actually their responsibility is to help you land the job. And that includes training you, offering consultations, helping you prepare your CV, prepare for visa, job interviews, even giving you stipends like transportations to go for the interview if you don't have it. What's even more interesting is you can
What
even
is the
get,
catch?
well, the catch is for you to land a job. Because if
The
you don't
government
have a
doesn't give
job,
us anything for free.
if you don't have a job, then you are like a burden to the social system. But the catch is for you
No,
to
of
land a
course.
job. But what's even more interesting is that you even get a voucher to learn the language. Let's say if the
Yes.
German language is necessary for your studies, for your job, then you even get a voucher to learn the language, which I think these are valuable resources that people should explore, people should use. So once you get the job, then you just go and change your status because you definitely need to change it before you can start working full time. Otherwise, you're still tied to that part time student
Yeah,
job.
part time, the
Um,
€500, sorry,
yeah.
limit.
Also, when you change, then it's not just a work permit, but you can also start your own business or a company if you want to. So that also um, entitles you to that. Yeah.
Okay, so definitely we have been talking about, we've been talking about Germany, but you also have, you cover a lot of other EU countries, but we're not going to talk about that today. So I want you to be able to please tell my viewers, especially the ones that don't know you, what services your company provides, especially for people that want to study in Germany. Let's focus on Germany today, and then focus on other
Yeah.
countries. So
Yeah.
what service does your company provide for students that want to study in Germany?
So the key thing which we offer are preparing you fully to move to Germany as a student, and that preparation
Yes.
includes consultation and also services where needed. The key areas are: one, consultations for you to have the overall um, that you have a deep understanding of how the process is. So you're not just relying on what you've read wherever or what someone has told you, but that you are relying on the service of, yes, an authentic agency that has been doing this for several years. So you get that consultation where all your questions are answered. And then also, if you want to, we can also take up the full admission process for you. And this is 100% guaranteed. So we look at your profile, your previous education, your qualification, your grades, and then we can advise you, okay, hey, these and these are relevant courses for you to study. You, of course, tell us what you're genuinely interested in studying, right? And then we tell you, okay, hey, yes, these and these are courses which you should think about. It's interesting to know that not every student is sure about what they can study, from their previous education, or more importantly, what they can connect it to in after their education, like career perspective. So we give you consultation on all these things so that you can make informed decision. And then we can also help you with the full admission process as well, whether it's to private unis or to public unis. So these are like the core services. Um, but besides these, as you know, we everything we do doesn't just stop there. We're also here in Germany. When you settle in Germany, when as you study, there are other things which you're going to need. So you are already in our ecosystem. You're like a family to us. And then there's also the network which we have that we can help you with. Someone is asking here about student job. This is also something that we can help you with. And what's interesting is once you go through any of our service, then you easily get access to all these other things, student job, health insurance, blocks account, travel insurance. So we give you all this information later on, basically for free. And most importantly, we also connect you with, other people that have gone through us, so you're just like actually now, part of our family,
Exactly.
you know. Yeah.
To even keep their mind at ease, because if they have seen evidence of other success cases, they're going to be more comfortable applying through your service. Okay, so
100%.
for those he has already explained everything. So he actually helps people to get admission into Germany. Not just that, he advises you, his company advises you on the best courses to take. So I've put his link in the description below and in the comment section. And you guys that are interested in actually studying in Germany can check it out. And he will be happy to provide that service for you. So right now, I think maybe we cannot take some questions from the comment section.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
someone was asking, what was the visa approval rate for Africa for
Mhm.
prospective applicants?
Yeah. Okay, so we will come back to this since we talked about visa before. So we'll take this and then we come back to the other. Um,
Yes.
the visa approval rate for African prospective applicants. I can't give you a number really, but what I can tell you for sure is if you meet all the requirements, then you have like 95% chance of getting the visa because there's no reason to stop you or there's no reason to deny you the visa if you meet all the requirements. And what are the requirements? The primary requirement for the student visa is that you have the admission from the uni. and also that you meet also other requirements for that admission. For example, some admission, they would give you the admission, but it's a conditional admission in that you need to
Yes.
fulfill maybe like the language requirements before you resume.
Yes.
So at the point of applying for the visa, you have to show that, okay, hey, either you have that language requirement which is needed, or the school allows you to get to Germany first and provide it. This could be one case that is not very straightforward. But in general, the admission to the uni, you have your proof of sustenance, so your financial proof or proof of fund, which could be blocked account, sponsorship letter,
Yes.
or a scholarship. Um, you also have, you can also tell them what plans you have for your accommodation. If you already have accommodation with a uni hostel, great. If not, then you have to say what plans you've already made or what arrangements you've made for your accommodation. This is important. And then what else again? Um, Depending on the embassy that you're applying from, some might require travel reservation or flight reservation, not booking, reservation. And also, they will tell you when you're coming to pick the visa to also have your travel health insurance or your travel insurance. Um, so, if you already get the admission, then you meet most of the requirement for the student visa. And if you have these things, then you already have like 95% chance of getting it. The only reason you may be denied is if you don't show the interviewer that you are actually going there to study. If they have doubts that you're going to
Exactly.
study, then they will deny you. And this would be their reason. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Well, that actually works. Okay, you want to
yeah.
answer this question? Okay, please
Yeah,
go
I can
ahead.
take this one. So, what are the kind of student jobs to do? And this guy is already living in Potsdam, so that's great. Um, so, there are many student jobs that you can do by default. Whatever student job that you meet the requirements, then you can do them. Um, but the most common ones are usually like bartenders. So you're like a bartender in, in a cafe, in a restaurant, or in a bar. These are usually common jobs. Other jobs could also be what I highly recommend is taking like part-time job within the uni. So like working as an assistant to a professor or a PhD student. It can be competitive, but it's also very if you know the tricks, and which is mainly to pay attention to the notice boards and the student emails. There are lots of opportunities there. So that is definitely one job which I do recommend because the work hours may not be that much, and you also earn quite well. Not to mention that you are doing something within the uni, so you even understand the university politics and all that more. Other student jobs that you could also take up would be working with a startup company. So, depending on what you're studying, if you're someone in the tech, business, or finance, then it becomes a lot easier to work with startup companies on a part time basis. So, a couple of hours in a week, you're working with them. So, that's definitely another type of student job to look out for. And I highly recommend it, especially for people who plan to, go take a professional job after their studies. Then definitely look into these. Apply to companies that you would like to work with later after your studies, and say you're looking for a part-time job. Besides that, you could also work as like customer care representative in some companies, maybe remotely or in person. um, and what else again? Yeah, they are the classical warehousing job, which a lot of people do. I don't recommend that because it gets you really
It's stressful.
exhausted, stressful, gets you exhausted, and it's just mentally draining. So I
I
usually do not
understand.
recommend that. But the good side is you kind of understand the locals, relate more with people a lot. So it could just get you started easily. But after you understand yourself, then I think you should look for something better. Um, but my advice to you, Alex, would be to yeah, pay attention to your uni, the notice boards, the general uni emails that they send, and then apply to, if you want to, that's if you are going in the academic line. But if you are looking for something within the industry, And I do recommend you look for startups that are doing something within your area. And trust me, it would pay you off that it takes you a bit more time to get this job than you rush to get some other type of jobs. Because those others, you get them really fast. But this one takes a while, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I have to, my systems are running low. That was a very great responsibility on my part. But I think you have discussed almost everything and very expertly.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
almost want to go study in Germany right now if I wasn't planning to go elsewhere to go work. Then after my
Yeah.
graduation, I would have loved to go to Germany.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You
thank
should.
you guys for maybe it's not my, for at least to my viewers, thank you for tuning up to the live. I hope you guys were able to meet Mr. Mike, get acquainted with Mr. Mike, who is wonderful at what he does. For those of you that actually want to go to Germany or have people that want to go to Germany, there's a link in the description where it takes you directly to his website where you see the work he has done for other people and the services that his company provides. So I hand it over to you. Oh, someone said hi, me pro. Oh, hi, T Price too. Oh, hi,
Yeah.
Mr. T Price too. I actually handle mostly Russia, so
Okay.
we're going to have another live session where I'm going to be
For
talking
sure.
about, maybe Russia, how to study in Russia, mostly to your
Definitely.
audience, which is
Definitely.
way
Yeah.
cheaper than Germany anyway.
Yeah, yeah, would love that. Yeah. So, guys,
Exactly.
thank you all for tuning in. For those questions which we can't take, I do encourage you to just go to settling.com now and just post the questions there. You can see it here. You just go to settling.com, you sign up, post your questions there, and we will take them there. So this live session was mainly to connect to Me Pro's audience, to also tell them about the opportunities studying in Germany. Soon we're going to have another session where we also explore the opportunities in Russia and other Russian-speaking countries. The ultimate goal here is that you have an overview of what the possibilities are in Europe, and you can decide where to go based on your interest and also your budget. The conversation does not end here. We're also live on Settling, answering questions, so be sure to sign up and keep those questions coming. So, Armin, thank you so much
No,
for
thank you so
today.
much, man. Thank you very much. Sorry for my incompetence.
Abba, what inconvenience are you talking about?
All right, thank
No.
you.
Thank you so much. And I wish you a nice evening, and I look forward to the next live event with you.
I look forward to the next live too. Thank you very much.
All right.
See you
Cheers. Bye
guys.
for now. Yeah.
Cheers.